Oh, check this out. All right. We get to talk playoffs. We get to talk playoffs with people. And I've got to ask an incredibly self-serving question to start things off with our friend Michael Parkhurst here, our MIT, our mogul in training. See, now you got the banner over the shoulder. I got that. I like that. By the way, I have a new addition here to the back. It is your inaugural season stadium scarf. It is right here. I have added that to the stacks, sir. Right.
I mean, amazing, John.
Well, you know me. I was going to sit there and I was going to ask if there was any of the 2024 gear left available, but it's no longer in the store because I was going to buy that out and give it out for Festivus this year.
You know what? Next time I'm up there, I'll try and find out.
Yeah, see if they're like in any boxes in the back buried someplace because any chance I have to rep our MIT, I'm going to do it. And well, and I also, by the way, I also picked up the one of the T-shirts as well, just to add. And I know that the boss is going to wear that long before I will. I have a chance to wear it anyway. But yeah,
naturally,
we added the 2025 inaugural stadium season scarf over here to add to what's going on.
Love it.
I know that there's absolutely nothing going on to talk about these days, but I do want to start with playoffs.
Playoffs,
exactly. All right, Maura, you've got another run at another title again for Rhode Island FC. Big win. You went to kicks from the spot. You go through at Patriots Point. You're still on the road. By the way, are you going to continue your trend and head to that match since you did last time, I believe?
I will be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not get to North Carolina last weekend. I was in Charleston for the first one, but I will make the 3-hour trek over to Pittsburgh tomorrow and check that one out.
See, now this is the fun part. And when you're going up against a team like Pittsburgh, traditionally, when you've got a guy like Bob Lilly, when he was in charge, it was defense first and then yell at your team in the darkness of a stadium an hour and a half after the match is over, regardless of result. But, they have taken a bit of a different tack now with Lilly on leave, and now they're scoring goals. And I am intrigued because this one could have a lot of goals attached to it on a bit of a wonky surface, I'll call it, at Highmark, where the turf kind of has a mind of its own, and Pittsburgh has kind of navigated it to their own success over the last couple of years.
I completely agree with you, John. It's one of the toughest places to play in USL because the turf is wonky is a good way to put it. But the ball bounces a lot. The ball sticks on the turf. It's usually windy because it's right there on the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's just usually a little ugly. No other way to put it. I think there's a reason why both their playoff games have been 0-0 all the way to penalties.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to win ugly, and that's what we'll try and do. Sprinkle in some moments of good footy and hope that's enough.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in a situation like this, and I guess this is also kind of a mentoring question, where you go into a situation and you're dealing with things that are out of your control. When you have these conversations about all of these wild cards that can happen on a game day, the visiting the home team paints your locker room pink, you get cold water, your timing is off. Oh, sorry, we didn't mean to put the sprinklers on then. Oh, how do you have, when you're talking to mentees about things that are out of their control, not something that's as minute or as tweakish as something like we're talking about in a playoff situation, but when you're talking to your mentees about navigating things out of their own control and focus on what you can control yourself, what are those reminders like when you have those conversations?
It's always just about adjusting, right? We have to be open to adjusting, both in life and on the soccer field, right? You can't be stubborn and say, Matt, no matter what, I'm going to play out of the back because that's what we practice and whatnot. Because if there's 2 inches of snow, or if there's puddles all over the field, if the wind is crazy, sometimes the game just dictates what you need to do, and you need to adapt to it if you want to have success. And usually the teams and the players that adapt quickest are the ones that have success on the day. And so there's going to be always things that are out of our control, and what can you do with it, right? How can you make the most of it? How can you take advantage of it? And right, when I say, hey, yeah, it's sticky turf, well, put the ball in behind. There's nothing worse for a defender getting a ball over their head and they don't know if is that ball going to check up, or if that is that ball going to accelerate a little bit. It's so difficult. So put the ball in behind and make it difficult for the defenders. There's just always little things that you can do that depending on what's going on the field or the conditions or whatever, and you just take advantage of those things, no matter what you originally thought you were going to play, the team was going to play, how you trained, right? You just adapt.
And that to me sometimes can be either, and to me it's one of the extremes when it comes to mentoring. Adapting and adaptation can either be one of the easiest things in the world for you, or it can be one of the most rigid things that you've got to try and break down with that wall. Because if you're not wanting to color outside the lines because you have this philosophy and you don't want to get anyone around you either angry, the fact that you're freelancing or whatever, anything like that, I would think that the idea of it's okay to color outside the lines and go away from what we've learned if we have to, it's a little bit different, I would think, than wanting to do it and then having to do it. That idea of trying to do something like that, I think that that's a delicate balance in trying to do it, knowing you've got to do it, instead of doing it because you want to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And it's just different ways to view things,
Yeah.
like everything. And yeah, but if you want to do it, then it's a lot easier to do whatever that is, and you're going to have more success with it. And that's just the name of the game. And like I said, if you're able to adapt faster than the opponents, you're more likely to have success.
Then let's just say you're a part of a team and you get a new coach, and he's a big name and he means a lot to the team that you're a part of currently, but you might not necessarily have been around when the guy was there before. It's another situation where you're going to have to, regardless of what the guy did before, it's another situation where you as a player on a team have to prove yourself all over again, I would think. Not to 100% proving yourself, because obviously your book is out there and the coach and the staff kind of know where you're coming from, but you've got to prove yourself all over again in the situation. What is that like for a professional athlete? And then what is that like for your mentees when they go up an age group and the coach changes, when they go and they change geography and a coach changes? What's that like, having to navigate proving yourself all over again? And what do you tell your mentees in these situations?
Yeah, I think it's great because it destroys any type of complacency that might exist anywhere, right? Everyone's kind of on somewhat of an even playing surface, and complacency destroys players and teams. And so I always viewed it, even when we got new teammates, especially higher paid teammates, big signings and things, like I always wanted to prove to them, hey, this is who I am as a player, right? You can trust me. Here's what I can do on the ball, right? That's was always a goal of mine. So same thing with a coach, and you have to play to who you are, and how do your strengths fit into what they're trying to do. And that's what I had to do with Tata, because I was way more exposed than I ever had been as a center back playing in Tata's system. And so how do I use my strengths, and how do I keep Jeff a little bit closer, and, do little things where we're still going to play the way Tata wants to, but how am I going to have success, and how am I going to show well in this system?
When you have those conversations either with Big Red or with Tata in a situation like that, I mean, how much of give and take is there? Is it my way or the highway? Is it the coach, whomever it is, understanding, hey, I know you want me to do this, but I can also do this, and I'm going to need a little bit of a give and take here as well. I know I can do this to help you out. I understand what you're trying to get me to do, But at the same time, I think that there are other ways that I can help out still within working within the framework. Are those give and take conversations ever had?
For sure. For sure. And I think that they're more had with senior players and maybe players that have been on the team, but even at the youth level, I think that there's the opportunity for players to have a little bit of a say of, you're out there on the field, you're seeing what is going on. Yes, the coaches have a feel on the sideline, but you're the one that's dealing with it. And, for me, when I was at Atlanta, we were, in the preseason and doing those things, I'm sitting here thinking like, geez, we're going to get crushed on counterattacks here. We have to be more careful. And, how can we find this balance? And some of it is me adapting, no doubt, and just doing it and dealing with it. There's no doubt about that's part of it. But I also think there's little things where it's like, okay, hey, we can't have both outside center backs going at the same time. Or, hey, if you're going to back four, left back, chill out just a little bit, or tuck inside if you're going to go up and don't stay wide. Like, D mid, can you be a little bit more safe? Little things where it made me a little bit more comfortable and having those conversations with Tata and the group, or it's possible, but also I'm just doing it. And he's probably seeing some of that. And if it's helping the team have success, you're not going to get too much pushback.
Yeah, but I mean, I would also imagine that first time that you do it, there's got to be the first time that you and the guys out there on the pitch do it. I'm sure that was there that moment of like, hey, what the blank are you doing? Or does he let it happen organically and then learn from the lesson and come together and sit there and go, okay, I saw what you did. So what if we did this, this, and this? What's that give and take like when it's done for the first time?
Yeah, I think it's just more, trying to see, hey, am I crazy? Was this the right call? Right? Is he crazy? Right? And just seeing, okay, where's he coming from? What is he trying to get out of this? What am I seeing? What am I trying to get out of it? But also guys on the field, right? Like, okay, Leandro is going to disappear and go in the box and try and score on a cross from our right back.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. How do you adjust, right?
Yeah.
Instead of telling him not to,
Yeah.
how do you adjust, right? How do you cover for him and figure it out? And, if the coaches are okay with him doing it, then okay, he's going to do it. And then the conversation is like, hey, other guys, when you see this occur, this is what needs to happen, right? How do we balance each other out a little bit? And, it's a give and take.
Is it difficult for a player or an athlete that is the age of your mentee to take those steps and do that kind of stuff these days, because you don't want to rock the boat? And I mean, we don't want to really rock them when we're placed in a situation where, yeah, this is a really cool opportunity for me. You don't want to rock the boat, but at the same time, you want to prove who you are. I mean, are you seeing mentees that are, you may not necessarily be having conversations with them, but are you seeing mentees that are taking those steps of being aggressive in these new locales or with these new coaches, or are they still in that I don't want to rock the boat mentality and I'm going to let things marinate for a little bit? How many of them dive in and how many of them let it roll for a sec?
Yeah. Oh, it's very challenging. Shoot, I played with a lot of pros who had a tough time talking to the coach and telling them things and suggesting things or whatnot, right? Even with Berhalter, where it was like, hey, play out of the back, play out of the back, play out of the back. And, I'm out there on the field and thinking, hey, we just played out of the back for 3 straight goal kicks. And all 3 of them just resulted in 3 extra goal kicks because they got opportunities on goal. Can we just kick the freaking ball up to midfield? But as I'm calling that, I can see hesitation from other guys thinking like, oh, this is not what coach wants. And so it's tough. And so, yeah, for younger players, of course, but I think if it comes from a place of curiosity and conversation rather than, on the field screaming type stuff, then it's usually more well received, right? Of, hey, when this happens, coach, what do you think if I can do this or I could do that or the team does this? And, that's part of leadership, and that's a big part of leadership. And that's very huge for a younger player to be having those types of conversations with coaches. So usually I think they're well received.
When you were coming up in the sport, were how many of those curious and conversational types did you come across, or was it more you in those opportunities that was the more curious and the more conversational?
Yeah, I had a hard, tough coach in high school down at IMG. He was very demanding and very difficult. So a lot of players were scared of him. And but I had a good relationship with him, and I think that again, it's kind of more of a I had the ability to do things on the field how I see it because of who I am as a person and the trust that they have in me, and I've proven myself and that type of thing. And so that's where doing things the right way and being a good teammate and all those things gets you that space, right? If you're a non-trustworthy player, whether that's because of attitude or just inconsistent performances or whatever it is, like, and you do these things on the field that are kind of against what the coach is trying to do, you're not going to get the leeway, right? But I got the leeway, and then if it works out, you continue to get that leeway.
I mean, that's for a coach to have a lot of trust in a younger player. I mean, I would think that that speaks just as much about the coach and how the coach is willing to learn in that situation as much as it is for the player and the confidence that the young player has in who they are and what they can be to the collective.
For sure. Absolutely. And not every coach is going to be cool with it, right? I literally just had a call with a mentee who's not getting as much playing time recently. And I said, well, have you talked to the coach? And he said, I tried. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, well, he just tells me to stop questioning him. And he gets very defensive. And I said, that's unfortunate. You wish that if you're in a mode of conversation and not a mode of trying to be combative, then you'd hope that you could get some information from the coach. But some coaches are not good with communication. Some of them are beaten down due to prior conversations with parents and players that have been combative and mean and things like that. And so I've seen it in my own experience with my high school daughter's softball coach, and just like trying to have random conversation with him when he's around, he's very guarded. And I know that it's because, and I've heard stories of it because it's from previous parents who have been just over the top and annoying, and why is my daughter not playing, and this and that. And so coaches become guarded, and so not every coach is going to be open to conversation, to players trying to do things differently on the field, right? So it's a balance, and you have to try and figure that out a little bit.
I notice in our conversations that that P word comes up a lot, parents. And I'm going to phrase the question this way. And I know that we talked about parents a lot, and to be able to have parents as a topic of conversation, I wish it was less of a conversation. But sadly, these days, I know that it's not. How often do you either in your day to day, being a normal person, being an MIT or whatever, or as the one of the grand exalted poobahs at Beyond Goals, do you loop back and have conversations where parents and their interaction ends up getting into that conversation instead of it being just something that pops up every once in a while? It seems like it's a topic of parents and how they're trying to impact their young athlete. It seems like it's coming up a lot more than it should these days, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's always going to pop up for sure. And we don't address it a ton in our mentoring sessions
Yeah.
with athletes, unless it becomes a real problem, or the athlete themselves is dealing with a lot from parents, and then maybe. But we talk about it every now and then. Like, I made a social media post the other day, like telling parents to, there's some showcases and big tournaments coming up here soon. So, take a look in the mirror and realize, are you helping? Are you hurting? Right? Because if words are coming out of your mouth other than good job, keep going, basically that's it,
Yeah.
then you're not helping, right? Any other words that are coming out of your mouth are not needed during the game. So you're either cheering or you're quiet. And Yeah, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. I mean, unfortunately, it's not. And look, and I'll give you my example. And this is going back into the days of black and white television and movable type and horse-drawn carriages. I played Little League baseball, and this could also be a generational thing too. I played Little League baseball, and it was something that my grandfather would take me to. He'd take me to every practice, and he'd be there, and he'd be that guy that was always there. And when I played first base, left-handed first baseman, and I had a coach, and one of those times where you had the pitcher, and the pitcher would look and he would try to do the snap throw to first and try to get the guy off the base or everything, and just for a quick tag. And that one time that I was looking down at the dirt trying to, fix what was going on around first base so the umpire could actually see that I would, got there before the tag. Pitcher throws it over, and it goes right past me, goes into the dugout, or goes up the right field foul line. After that play is over, guy advances to second. The coach literally comes out on the field to me, and he says, "It'll be a cold day in hell before you play first base ever again." I mean, literally, that is what he said. And so he said it in front of an entire audience of folks and my teammates and everything. And it was one of those where I almost had the moment from Bad News Bears where the Yankees, Billy, the Yankees pitcher, he's got the ball and he's just going to hang on to it, and it's like, I'm not going to let you have it, and
Mhm.
everything around me is going to score. I would venture to say that that was an extreme back then. I hope it's an extreme now, but those folks are still out there, whether they are coaches and they're not guarded, or they just, feel like they need to yell in a situation like that to get the point across. That doesn't do anybody any good, but sadly, those folks are still out there these days. And when that messaging is still out, there are those that are going to come in behind it and reinforce those kinds of things when it comes to that kind of messaging. And it's disappointing when you have to deal with these kinds of things.
Oh, totally. Totally. And I literally saw, I think I had mentioned before about like these jokes online about parents and coaches and things, and they're meant to be funny, but and I literally just saw one, my Instagram feed showed me, it was a stand-up comedian. He said something like, they say hitting a baseball is the toughest thing to do in sports. Well, I disagree. Being a little leaguer going 0 for 4 and then getting in the car with dad's a lot tougher,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right? Because it's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
And there's the sad reality that a lot of people go through. Not only on the field, but then off the field too. Yeah, and I see it, and I think that honestly, from my experience, the parents on the soccer field are worse, and the coaches in baseball are worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's where you have, the baseball coach who feels like, it's got to be this way or nothing, or, all that. And then the parent, I think the parent these days, once again, they're locked into that idea of living vicariously, pushing buttons, making sure that everything that they've invested can turn into whatever they think it's going to turn into down the line, when, national team call up, whatever, those kinds of things. Yeah, and I think, to your point, these days, yeah, I am seeing it more from the soccer parent than I am a parent from any other sport, where, yeah, there's still the parent squawking a bit, but, I think that you end up seeing it more, sadly, in soccer these days, and it's that, once again, that's the disappointing part of this. I'm sorry I brought up the P word again this morning, man.
It's the C word too. I was scouting a college kid for Rhode Island the other day, and I'm watching a video of his game. And it's at a stadium, and it's kind of quiet at the stadium, and there's a ball played in behind, and it's questionable offside. And I think it was a coach, might have been a parent, I think it was the coach, goes berserk. I mean, you can hear every word he's saying. He is screaming at the linesman. And it's just, oh my God, crazy.
Mhm. Did you see did
Um,
you see Abby's question here real quick? Is Beyond Goals offering classes for coaches about communicating with players?
Not currently. It's something that we had discussed with a bunch of clubs before they all told us to go pound sand.
Really?
So we maybe do something with Inter Atlanta now that we got a partnership with them. It's not something that we've um, it's part of the agreement right now, but I do think that it's could be useful.
Yeah. It's especially just bringing the P word. If you could have a P word communications class too.
Well, we will have a couple things with parents, so that'll be good.
Good. We've kind of discussed it a little bit here this morning, but now that he is officially back, Tata 2.0, what's running through your head now?
Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to see him back and the staff back, and I think he'll bring in some new blood. And
His son, I think, is going to be on the staff now too.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He was down in Miami with him, and so yeah, I expect that he'll bring in some new blood to the team. He'll bring in a different culture, a different expectation on the field, style of play, everything. And so, I said on a different interview or something that I think his number one priority is figuring out the DPs and how do you get the best out of them,
Mhm.
because that's got to be priority number one. Because you know, 2 out of the 3 for sure were not very good last year, and so it's tough to win when you've got that much money in a few players and they're not playing well. So I would expect that happens because he obviously got the best out of Joseph and Miggy when they were playing together. So hopefully he can do the same with Latte and Miggy.
So when are you leaving to go to Pittsburgh?
Tomorrow afternoon. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
getting there early.
I was gonna say it's not because it's a 6:30 kick. I didn't know if it was going to be something where you're going to go to Primanti Brothers and bring enough for the team or
Yeah, it's actually a busy weekend in Pittsburgh because college game day is there tomorrow
yeah.
for Pitt versus Notre Dame, and then Pittsburgh's got an NFL game on Sunday. So hotels were actually pretty crazy and expensive and
You
full.
have to stay out in State College or something, man.
I think there were some people staying out by the airport. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, so no hotel for us. We'll just go up and back.
Oh, okay. So we anticipate we know what kind of match you're anticipating, but how nervous are you this time of year, knowing that you're not playing, but you're watching, and everything that you've invested, both emotionally and physically, is going into what you're going to be seeing in Pittsburgh tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I don't know. I was pretty nervous in Charleston just because it wasn't a great season overall, right? We came in 7th and just wasn't great. So, but now things have turned. You win 2 games in the playoffs, now you're in the Eastern Conference Final, and so win or lose, you can look back and say, hey, it was a good season. We were in the top 4. So yeah, I want us to win, no doubt about it. But I don't think I'm going to be crazy nervous. It's if we win, great, and if we didn't, hey, I think it's validates what we're doing and who we are as a club, and so we're still moving in the right direction.
So it's house money for you right now.
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, we have some unfinished business, no doubt, in the
Yeah,
final, but
yeah, absolutely. And Colorado Springs decided basically to jettison their staff after they only made it into the first round and won a title last year. So
crazy.
patience sometimes is not a virtue, but it needs to be exercised a lot more across the board, whether we're talking coaches, teams, sons, daughters, and mentees and mentors. Did I hear Deacon earlier?
Oh, you did not, because she is
Oh,
in full sleep mode.
okay.
I mean, she might have moved around and snorted a little bit.
Yeah, because I thought I heard Deacon harumph when there might have been a rotation on the bed.
It could have been.
Yeah, it's like, you hear that, I didn't know if Deacon was rotating or
It's
not.
been a tough morning for her, John. We went for a walk. She had breakfast. Got some socks around the house. It's been a tough morning.
She's cashed out already. It's 10 o'clock on Friday morning. She's cashed out. As always, my friend, great to see you. I'm glad we can blend mentoring and dealing with mentees with the issues of the day and all this kinds of stuff. Enjoy the ride. Be safe getting down to Highmark, and see if somebody can launch a ball actually over the train and into the river. I'm waiting for that moment to happen.
Tell you what, 91st minute, we're winning. I might go down there on the field and try it myself.
That'd be epic. Like I said, just be safe, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon.